Mind-blowing insights. 5 topics that will change how you see the world. Spiritual audiobook by David Russo. Introduction. What if the world is not exactly as it appears? What if beneath the routines of daily life, beneath your thoughts, your memories, your ambitions, there exists a deeper layer of reality waiting to be recognized? Throughout history, great thinkers like Albert Einstein, Socrates, and Carl Jung have suggested that the universe is far stranger, more interconnected, and more mysterious than our senses alone can comprehend. Yet beyond theories and philosophies lies something even more powerful: direct awareness. The philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson once wrote, "The mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to its original dimensions." I experienced something like this long before I fully understood what it meant. When I was a kid in the 1980s, I became deeply involved in a computer game system. At that time, long before the internet made the idea of going viral common, something unusual happened. My scores climbed to the very top of the system. I reached number 1. And to my surprise, money even started coming in. For a moment, my mind was stretched. I saw that technology could connect people, create opportunity, and allow ideas to spread in ways that felt far ahead of their time. But life has a way of redirecting us. My parents encouraged a more traditional path, and like many young people, I followed it. I went to college, earned a degree, and moved forward with what seemed like the responsible direction. For many years, I barely thought about that early experience. Then one day, much later, the memory returned, not just the event itself, but the realization it had sparked. I understood something important. Once your mind glimpses a bigger possibility, it never truly forgets it. The idea may sleep quietly for years, but it remains there, waiting to awaken again. This audiobook grew from that awakening. Mind-blowing insights. 5 topics that will change how you see. The world is not just a collection of ideas. It is an invitation to stretch your own perception of reality. Across these chapters, we will explore extraordinary themes that connect science, philosophy, and spirituality. You will examine how your decisions may be shaped by forces beneath conscious awareness, and how awareness itself can transform automatic reactions into intentional living. You will discover that time, which feels so solid and relentless, may be far more flexible than you imagine. You will explore how memory and perception shape the story you believe about yourself and the world. From the microscopic intelligence operating within your own body to the unimaginable vastness of the cosmos, you will see how existence unfolds across scales both intimate and infinite. Modern discoveries in neuroscience and physics increasingly echo ancient spiritual insights that separation may be less real than it appears, and that consciousness itself may be more fundamental than matter. As technology and artificial intelligence reshape humanity's future, we will also ask a deeper question: not only what we are becoming, but who we truly are. This journey is not about replacing one belief with another. It is about expanding perspective. When science meets spirituality, something remarkable happens. Curiosity deepens into awe, knowledge transforms into wisdom, and life becomes less about control and more about conscious participation. You may begin this audiobook seeking answers, but what you may find is something far more powerful: better questions. Questions that awaken humility. Questions that ignite wonder. Questions that guide you inward as much as outward. Because perhaps the greatest discovery is this: reality is not merely something you observe. It is something you participate in, and the moment you begin to see differently, the world itself begins to change. Chapter 1. What makes us decide? Every day, you make thousands of decisions. Some are small and automatic: what to eat, which route to take, when to check your phone. Others feel monumental: career moves, relationships, life direction. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, where do these decisions truly come from? Modern neuroscience suggests that your brain often initiates actions before you become consciously aware of choosing. In the 1980s, experiments by Benjamin Libet revealed that measurable brain activity occurs milliseconds before a person reports making a conscious decision. In other words, Your brain may begin deciding before you think you've decided. More recent research by neuroscientists, such as John Dylan Haynes, has reinforced this idea, showing that patterns in brain activity can sometimes predict a person's choice several seconds before they consciously register it. So, what does that mean? Are you simply a passenger watching your biology play out? Not exactly, but it does suggest that much of what feels like deliberate choice is influenced by forces beneath conscious awareness. Your habits, childhood conditioning, culture, emotional memories, and even subtle environmental cues shape your behavior constantly. The smell of coffee can trigger a craving. A tone of voice can trigger defensiveness. A familiar pattern can pull you into the same argument you swore you would avoid. Your brain is designed for efficiency. It builds shortcuts. Neural pathways strengthen through repetition. The more you repeat a behavior, the more automatic it becomes. This is why habits feel hard to break. Your nervous system prefers the familiar, even when the familiar is unhealthy. But here is where the spiritual dimension enters. Awareness changes everything. When you begin to observe your thoughts instead of instantly identifying with them, you create space. In that space lies possibility. Practices like meditation, taught for thousands of years in traditions such as Buddhism and echoed in modern mindfulness movements inspired by teachers like Thich Nhat Hanh, train you to witness impulses without immediately acting on them. You start to notice the urge before the action, the emotion before the reaction. This moment of noticing is powerful. It may be brief, just a second of clarity, but within it exists freedom. Perhaps true free will is not about controlling every thought that arises. Thoughts may surface automatically, shaped by biology and history, but your power lies in how you respond. You may not choose the initial spark of anger, but you can choose whether to feed it. You may not choose the sudden wave of fear, but you can choose whether to let it steer your behavior. In this sense, awareness becomes the bridge between determinism and freedom. Imagine your life as a flowing river. The current represents genetics, upbringing, culture, and unconscious conditioning. You cannot instantly stop the current, but you can learn to steer. You can learn to read the water, anticipate the pull, and choose your direction with increasing skill. The more conscious you become, the less reactive you are, and the less reactive you are, the more intentional your life becomes. So the question is not simply, am I in control? A deeper question is, how aware am I? Because the quality of your awareness determines the quality of your choices, and the quality of your choices shapes the reality you experience. As this journey begins, notice your next decision. However small, pause, observe the impulse. Feel the space between stimulus and response. Within that space, you may discover something extraordinary. The quiet emergence of conscious choice. Chapter 2. Free will versus determinism. If your brain begins deciding before you are aware of it, if your habits, biology, and environment constantly shape your behavior, then a deeper question emerges. Are you truly free? For centuries, philosophers and scientists have wrestled with this tension between free will and determinism. Determinism suggests that every event, including your thoughts and actions, is the inevitable result of prior causes. From this perspective, the universe unfolds like an intricate chain reaction, governed by physical laws first described by thinkers such as Isaac Newton. If you knew every particle's position and momentum, the future, in theory, would be predictable. In the 19th century, mathematician and astronomer Pierre-Simon Laplace imagined a superintelligence, later called Laplace's demon, that could calculate the entire future of the universe from present conditions. In such a universe, free will seems like an illusion. Every choice would already be written into the fabric of cause and effect. Yet modern physics complicates this picture. Quantum theory, shaped by pioneers like Werner Heisenberg, introduced fundamental uncertainty into nature. At the smallest scales, outcomes can only be described in probabilities. Some interpret this unpredictability as opening a door for freedom, but randomness is not the same as conscious choice. If your decisions were purely random, that would not feel like freedom either. So, where does that leave you? Perhaps the answer lies not in choosing one side, but in understanding the relationship between both. From a spiritual perspective, Many traditions propose that life unfolds through a dance between destiny and agency. In Hindu philosophy, the concept of karma suggests that past actions shape present circumstances, yet conscious action in the present shapes the future. Similarly, existentialist philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre argued that even within constraints, human beings are condemned to be free, responsible for how they respond to their conditions. Consider this: you did not choose your birthplace, you did not choose your genetics, you did not choose many of the formative events that shaped your personality. These are the givens, the currents of the river. But within those currents, you experience something undeniable: the feeling of choosing. You deliberate, you weigh options, you reflect, you imagine consequences. Even if subconscious processes influence you, there remains a layer of conscious reflection that can interrupt patterns. That reflective awareness may be the heart of human freedom. Spiritual teachers often speak of surrender, not as passive resignation, but as alignment. Surrender means recognizing what you cannot control, while fully embracing responsibility for what you can. It is the wisdom to release the illusion of total control, paired with the courage to act with integrity anyway. In this view, freedom is not absolute independence from cause and effect. It is the capacity to participate consciously within it. Imagine life as a vast symphony. The score may already contain themes and structures beyond your choosing, but within those themes, you are invited to improvise. Your interpretation matters. Your presence matters. Free will may not mean that you control every note, but it may mean that your awareness shapes the music as it unfolds. So, perhaps the real power lies not in proving whether free will exists, but in living as if your choices carry meaning. Because when you take responsibility for your responses, when you act with mindfulness and intention, your life transforms, and whether destiny sets the stage or not, the way you show up within it becomes your greatest act of freedom. Chapter 3. The Physics of Time. You feel time passing every day. Seconds tick, minutes stretch, years seem to accelerate as you grow older. Time appears steady, reliable, like an invisible river carrying everything forward. But what if time is not flowing the way you think? For centuries, time was assumed to be absolute, a universal clock ticking the same for everyone, everywhere. That view shifted dramatically in the early 20th century with the work of Albert Einstein. In his theory of relativity, time was no longer separate from space. It became part of a unified fabric known as space-time. One of relativity's most astonishing predictions is time dilation. The faster you move, the slower time passes for you relative to someone at rest. Clocks on satellites orbiting Earth tick at a slightly different rate than clocks on the ground, a difference so real that systems like global positioning system must account for it to function accurately. Time is not fixed. It stretches and bends depending on speed and gravity. Even more mind-bending is the implication that past, present, and future may all coexist within space-time. Some physicists describe this as the block universe theory, the idea that all moments exist simultaneously, and what we call the present is simply the point our consciousness is currently experiencing. If that is true, then the future may not be rushing toward you. It may already exist in some dimension of reality, just as the past still exists in the fabric of space-time. Yet your experience feels different. You remember the past. You anticipate the future. You feel the present slipping away. Why? Neuroscience suggests that your brain constructs the sense of time. It stitches together sensory input, memory, and expectation into a continuous narrative. Without memory, your sense of time dissolves. Without anticipation, the future loses meaning. Time, as you experience it, may be as much psychological as physical. This is where science and spirituality quietly meet. Mystics across traditions have long described experiences of timelessness, moments in deep meditation where the past and future vanish, leaving only a vast, eternal now. In these states, awareness exists without the usual markers of duration. Minutes can feel like hours. Hours can pass in what feels like moments. Perhaps time, as you normally experience it, is a lens, a way consciousness organizes reality. Remove the lens, and something else is revealed, a deeper stillness beneath motion. Consider your own life. When you are fully absorbed, In creativity, love, or awe, time seems to dissolve. When you are anxious or bored, it drags. The clock may measure seconds consistently, but your inner world does not. So, which is more real, the ticking clock or your lived experience? Maybe both are expressions of a greater mystery. From a spiritual perspective, the present moment is not just a slice between past and future. It is the only place where life actually unfolds. The past exists as memory. The future exists as imagination. But the now, this breath, this awareness, is where existence is directly encountered. Physics suggests time is flexible. Consciousness suggests it is constructed. Spiritual insight suggests it can be transcended. And when you begin to question time, something profound happens. Urgency softens. Regret loosens. Fear of the future loses its grip. Because if time is not as solid as it seems, then perhaps your life is not a race against it, but a dance within it. Right now, as you listen, notice this moment, not the one before, not the one after, just this. In that awareness, you may glimpse something timeless quietly holding it all together. Chapter 4, Perception and Memory of Time. Have you ever noticed how a single hour can feel completely different, depending on your state of mind? Waiting in a silent room, 5 minutes can feel endless. Laughing with close friends, an entire evening can disappear in what feels like seconds. The clock moves at one speed, yet your experience of time bends and stretches. Why? Your brain does not passively record time like a stopwatch. Instead, it constructs your sense of duration from attention, emotion, and memory. When you are bored or uncomfortable, your attention fixates on the passage of time. You monitor each second, amplifying its weight. But when you are deeply engaged in conversation, creativity, or flow, your attention shifts away from the clock. With less mental tracking, time seems to accelerate. Emotion also plays a powerful role. Fear and stress can slow perceived time in the moment, sharpening awareness as your survival systems activate. Yet when you later look back, periods filled with routine and repetition often seem compressed in memory, while novel or meaningful experiences appear richer and longer. This reveals something subtle but profound. Time, as you remember it, is shaped by meaning. Your memory does not store every second equally. It highlights moments of intensity, change, and significance. A childhood summer may feel endless when lived, yet in hindsight it collapses into a handful of vivid scenes. Entire years can blur together if little stands out. The more novel and mindful your experience is, the more expansive your life appears in retrospect. In this sense, your perception of time is deeply tied to awareness. When you operate on autopilot, repeating routines, replaying the same thoughts, days blend into one another. But when you become fully present, noticing small details, sensations, and emotions, life feels fuller, slower, more alive. Spiritual traditions have long pointed to this truth. The present moment is not just a philosophical idea. It is a lived experience of clarity. When attention rests fully in the now, mental time, the constant revisiting of the past and rehearsing of the future, quiets. There is a sense of spaciousness, even if only briefly. This does not mean abandoning planning or reflection. It means recognizing that psychological time, worrying, regret, anticipation, often pulls you away from the only moment where action and awareness truly exist. Consider how much of your day is spent mentally elsewhere, replaying conversations, imagining outcomes, revisiting old mistakes. Each thought subtly distorts your perception of time, stretching or compressing it according to emotional charge. But when you pause, when you take a single conscious breath, something shifts. The room becomes clearer, sounds sharpen, sensations deepen. For an instant, there is no rush toward the future or pull toward the past. There is simply experience unfolding. Living in the present does not stop the clock. It transforms your relationship with it. If you wish your life to feel longer, richer, and more meaningful, the answer may not be adding more years, but adding more awareness to the years you have. Novelty, gratitude, curiosity, and mindfulness expand time from the inside. So ask yourself, are you truly living your moments, or merely moving through them? Because in the end, your life is not measured only in hours, It is measured in attention, and wherever your attention rests, there your experience of time is created. Chapter 5. Memory in Always Truth. Close your eyes and recall a vivid moment from your past. Perhaps a childhood birthday, a difficult conversation, a triumph you still feel proud of. The images may appear clear. The emotions may return instantly. It feels real, solid, unquestionable. But what if that memory is not an exact recording of what happened? For much of history, memory was compared to a storage system, like a file cabinet in the mind. Experiences were believed to be neatly encoded and later retrieved intact. Modern psychology tells a different story. Memory is not a playback. It is a reconstruction. Research by psychologist Elizabeth Loftus demonstrated how easily memories can be altered. In controlled experiments, participants were led to remember events that never occurred, even becoming convinced of detailed false experiences. Small suggestions, leading questions, or repeated retellings subtly reshaped what people believed to be true. Each time you recall a memory, you don't simply access it, you rewrite it. The brain reassembles fragments, sights, emotions, interpretations, and in that reconstruction, details can shift. Over time, stories grow smoother, sharper, or more dramatic. The edges blur, gaps are filled. This doesn't mean your past is entirely fiction. It means your experience of it is filtered through perception, emotion, and identity. Consider how two siblings can remember the same childhood event differently. One recalls laughter, the other remembers tension. Both are sincere, both feel certain, yet their inner narratives shape the meaning of the moment. Memory is deeply intertwined with the ego, the sense of me. Your mind organizes past events into a coherent story about who you are. I am resilient. I am unlucky. I am not good enough. Over time, selected memories reinforce these beliefs, while contradictory ones fade into the background. In this way, memory doesn't just reflect your identity, it helps create it. Spiritually, this insight is liberating. If your past is not a fixed, objective script, but a living interpretation, then your relationship to it can change. You may not alter events that occurred, but you can transform the meaning you attach to them. Painful memories often carry emotional charge because they are played through the lens of judgment or regret. Yet when observed with awareness, without immediately identifying with the story, their grip softens. You begin to see them as experiences you had, not definitions of who you are. This is the beginning of freedom from the past. Imagine your mind as a storyteller sitting by a fire, weaving together fragments of experience into a narrative. The story may be compelling, it may even be useful, but it is still a story. Who, then, is the one listening? When you step back and observe your memories rather than being consumed by them, you glimpse a deeper layer of consciousness, the awareness in which memories arise. That awareness is not limited to any single event. It is not wounded or glorified by the past. It simply witnesses, understanding that memory, in always truth, does not make life meaningless. It makes it fluid. It invites humility about your certainties and compassion for the differing recollections of others. Most importantly, it reminds you that your identity is not locked in yesterday's interpretations. Your past influences you, but it does not imprison you, unless you mistake the story for the self. And in recognizing the difference, you begin to reconnect with something more stable than memory, the present awareness in which your life is unfolding right now. Chapter 6. Consciousness and Self-Deception. Who are you, really? When asked, most people point to their name, their history, their personality, or the constant voice in their head. Yet neuroscience suggests that the sense of self is not a singular entity, it is a dynamic process, a story your brain continuously weaves from countless unconscious signals. Research by Michael Gazzaniga on split brain patients illustrates this beautifully. When one hemisphere acts independently, the other invents explanations for behavior it didn't initiate. Our minds are constantly interpreting, rationalizing, and creating coherence. Even when the truth is unclear or contradictory, this interpreter gives us the comforting illusion of control. But in reality, much of our thought, emotion, and action unfolds automatically, beneath conscious awareness. This process lays the foundation for self-deception. You may believe you are completely rational, Yet biases shape your choices. You may see yourself as open-minded, yet resist ideas that challenge your identity. Cognitive dissonance, that subtle discomfort when actions and beliefs. Conflict often pushes the mind to rewrite the story to protect the self. I didn't fail, it wasn't important, or I'm cautious, not avoiding growth. The ego wants coherence, even at the expense of truth. Spiritual teachings offer a complementary perspective. When you cultivate mindful observation, you notice that thoughts, emotions, and the sense of I appear and vanish on their own. Awareness itself, the silent witness, remains constant. It is spacious, unbound by the stories and judgments of the mind. The self, then, is not destroyed or rejected. It is seen for what it truly is, a tool, a role, a pattern within consciousness. Recognizing self-deception does not weaken your ability to act in the world. It frees you from being unconsciously controlled by narratives and biases. Each time you pause and observe a thought or emotion without immediately identifying with it, you reclaim choice. You begin to respond rather than react, to act with clarity rather than habit. In the stillness of awareness, beyond the chatter of thoughts, you touch something deeper, a presence that witnesses without judgment, that knows without labels, that simply is. This is the essence of consciousness, spacious, uncheckable, and profoundly freeing. When you start living from this place, life itself transforms. Choices, relationships, and experiences are no longer merely events in a story you think you are, but opportunities to engage with reality directly, consciously, fully, and awake. Chapter 7. Inside the human body. Step inside your body, not literally, but with awareness, and you enter a universe as complex and mysterious as the cosmos itself. Within your skin, trillions of cells are working in synchrony, each following intricate instructions encoded in your DNA. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought is supported by a web of systems operating seamlessly, often without your conscious direction. Consider your microbiome, the trillions of bacteria, viruses, and fungi that inhabit your gut. Once thought to be mere passengers, scientists now know they influence digestion, immunity, and even mood. Your gut is sometimes called your second brain, sending chemical signals that affect emotions and behavior. In essence, the line between body and mind is not as clear as we once believed. Look deeper, and the cells themselves reveal astonishing intelligence. They communicate through chemical signals, adjust to stress, repair damage, and even decide when to die. The immune system orchestrates a constant defense against threats, learning and adapting in real time. Your body is not a machine. It is a living ecosystem, self-organizing, self-regulating, and continuously rerenewing. From a spiritual perspective, this complexity hints at something greater. Many traditions speak of the body as a temple, a vehicle for consciousness that is both physical and energetic. The intelligence running through your cells, your organs, and your nervous system is more than chemical reactions. It is a reflection of the same creative force that shapes galaxies and stars. By tuning into your body, you can feel its rhythm, its intelligence, and its subtle messages. Meditation, breathwork, and mindful movement reveal this inner wisdom, reminding you that your body is not merely a vessel, but a living expression of life itself. Health, therefore, is not just the absence of disease. It is alignment, a harmony between mind, body, and spirit. When you honor your body, listen to its signals, and act with awareness, you participate consciously in the miracle of being alive. You begin to see that life itself is intelligent, resilient, and interconnected, not just externally in the universe, but within you. The human body is a microcosm of the cosmos. Tiny cells mirror vast galaxies. Intricate systems mirror cosmic networks. Our rise is not only when you look outward into the stars, but when you look inward and witness the marvel of your own living form. Awareness of this inner universe awakens reverence. It reminds you that you are not merely in the universe is alive within you. Chapter 8. The Cosmic Scale. Now widen your perspective, moving from the microcosm of your body to the boundless expanse of the universe, from the tiniest subatomic particles to galaxies that stretch beyond vision. Reality spans scales that challenge comprehension. Light from distant stars travels millions, even billions, of years before reaching Earth, carrying whispers from the dawn of time. The sheer immensity of the cosmos humbles the mind and dissolves the ego. Consider the numbers. There are more stars in the observable universe than grains of sand on every beach on the planet. Many of these stars host planets, some of which may harbor life. Cosmic phenomena, supernovae, black holes, nebulae unfold across epochs far exceeding a human lifetime. Even Earth, our familiar home, is but a fleeting moment in the sweep of cosmic history, and yet, this vastness is intimately connected to you. The atoms that compose your body were forged in ancient stars. Carbon, oxygen, iron, every element once resided in stellar cores before being scattered across space in cataclysmic explosions. You are literally stardust, a miniature echo of the universe itself. Science inspires awe, but spirituality deepens it. Mystics have long described a sense of unity with all that exists, an awareness of being simultaneously small and infinite. Awe is more than admiration. It opens the door to transcendence, confronting the vast, whether in the night sky, in nature, or within your own microscopic inner world shifts perception. Boundaries soften, the ego relaxes, and you sense your place within something larger than yourself. This perspective reshapes how life is experienced. Challenges that once felt overwhelming shrink. When measured against billions of years of cosmic evolution, everyday worries lose significance. You approach existence with humility, curiosity, and reverence, recognizing each moment as a rare convergence of consciousness and cosmos. The cosmic scale also reminds you that smallness does not equate to insignificance. Each decision, act of kindness, and moment of awareness sends ripples outward. Just as stars influence distant planets through gravity and light, your presence shapes the living network around you. This awareness awakens responsibility and wonder simultaneously. Ultimately, the inward and outward merge. The universe reflects the complexity of your inner life, and your consciousness mirrors the cosmos. In this realization lies a profound truth. You are both infinitesimal and infinite, a singular awareness participating in the vastness of existence. Chapter 9. Technology and AI. Humanity stands at a crossroads. Never before has the pace of technological advancement been so rapid, and never before have we created tools with the potential to redefine what it means to be human. Artificial intelligence, robotics, genetic engineering, and digital networks are not simply changing how we live, they are transforming how we think, perceive, and interact with reality. Yet the seeds of this transformation were planted long before the modern AI evolution. When I was a kid in the 1980s, I experienced an early glimpse of how powerful digital technology could become. Through a computer game system, I became deeply immersed in a new world that most people at the time barely understood. My scores climbed higher and higher until I reached number 1 on the system. To my surprise, attention and even money began coming in. Today, we would call something like that going viral. But back then, the concept barely existed. At the time, I didn't fully grasp what it meant. I was just a kid fascinated by a new technology. But something important happened in that moment. My mind expanded. I saw that computers could connect people, create opportunity, and allow ideas or achievements to spread far beyond a single room or arcade. Life eventually pulled me in more traditional directions. Like many people, I went to college and followed the path that seemed expected. Yet looking back now, I realized that early experience was a small preview of the world we live in today. A world where digital networks amplify ideas instantly and technology shapes nearly every aspect of our lives. The rise of artificial intelligence is the next stage of that transformation. AI systems can now compose music, diagnose diseases, generate art, analyze enormous data sets, and engage in conversations that feel remarkably human. Tasks that once required years of specialized training can now be assisted or even performed by machines. These developments inspire awe, but they also raise profound questions. When machines can replicate tasks once believed to be uniquely human, we are forced to ask, what truly defines us? What separates intelligence from consciousness? And what role will human awareness play in a world increasingly guided by algorithms? Thinkers such as Nick Bostrom and Ray Kurzweil have explored both the promise and the risks of advanced artificial intelligence. They remind us that technology itself is neither inherently good nor bad. It amplifies the intentions and values of those who create it. From a spiritual perspective, this moment in history offers a powerful mirror. Technology reflects our intellect, our creativity, and our ambition, but it also exposes our blind spots, our impatience, our desire for control, and our tendency to move faster than our wisdom. Artificial intelligence can process information at incredible speed, but it does not possess awareness in the way humans do. It does not feel wonder beneath a night sky. It does not experience compassion, curiosity, or the quiet presence of consciousness. Those qualities remain uniquely human. This is why the rise of AI makes inner awareness more important, not less. As machines become more capable, humanity faces a choice. We can become increasingly distracted, outsourcing not only tasks but attention itself. Or we can develop deeper levels of awareness, wisdom, and responsibility alongside our technological power. Technology and consciousness must evolve together. Without wisdom, powerful tools become dangerous. With awareness, those same tools can elevate humanity, improving health, expanding knowledge, and connecting people across cultures and continents. Consider how technology already extends human ability. Telescopes allow us to see galaxies billions of light-years away. Microscopes reveal microscopic universes within a single drop of water. Digital networks allow ideas to travel around the planet in seconds. Technology is not separate from humanity. It is an extension of our collective mind. The real question is not whether technology will advance. It certainly will. The question is whether human consciousness will advance alongside it. If we develop technology faster than wisdom, we risk becoming overwhelmed by our own creations. But if we cultivate awareness, compassion, and responsibility at the same pace as innovation, technology can become one of the greatest tools for human flourishing. In this sense, the future of artificial intelligence is not only about machines. It is about us. It is about whether we choose distraction or awareness, power or wisdom, control or understanding. The tools we build will shape the world, but the consciousness guiding those tools will determine the future of humanity. And perhaps the most important realization is this: as intelligent as machines may become, the greatest frontier of discovery is still the human mind and the awareness within it. Chapter 10: Possibilities Beyond Earth. Humanity has always looked up at the stars and wondered, what lies beyond? Space has been a canvas for imagination, science, and philosophy alike. Today, our curiosity is no longer purely theoretical. We are beginning to reach beyond Earth, exploring planets, asteroids, and the possibility of life in the cosmos. The next chapter of human evolution may well unfold among the stars. Space exploration pushes the limits of technology, endurance, and vision. Rockets carry probes to distant planets. Telescopes peer back billions of years into cosmic history, and private enterprises aim to colonize Mars. Each achievement stretches our understanding of what humans can do, revealing both our ingenuity and our fragility. We are at once explorers and custodians, capable of altering environments light years away, while still struggling to care for our own planet. Yet the outer cosmos is also a mirror for the inner. As we contemplate the enormity of space, we are reminded of the vastness within consciousness itself. Just as planets orbit stars, thoughts and awareness move in patterns we are only beginning to understand. Just as galaxies expand and evolve, the human mind, and potentially the soul, may be capable of growth and exploration far beyond the confines of our physical body. Philosophers and spiritual thinkers have long speculated about consciousness as a dimension that transcends matter. If the universe is not merely physical but alive with intelligence, then exploring space is not only a scientific endeavor, it is also a spiritual one. Each new world, each distant star, may echo lessons about connection, perspective, and the infinite possibilities inherent in life. Looking forward, humanity may one day leave Earth entirely, creating new civilizations, adapting biology, and encountering forms of life that challenge our definitions of being. These possibilities raise profound questions. How will consciousness evolve in new environments? How will ethics, empathy, and spiritual awareness guide our actions among the stars. The future of humanity is intertwined with the cosmos, just as the cosmos is reflected in us. Ultimately, the journey beyond Earth is a journey inward as well. The exploration of space awakens awe, humility, and wonder, qualities that dissolve the barriers of ego and expand the heart. We are tiny in scale yet limitless in potential. Each star we reach, each planet we touch, is an invitation to recognize that consciousness, like the universe itself, may be infinite, and that our true voyage has only just begun. The cosmos calls not only to our intellect, but to our soul. The question is not only where we will go, but who we will become along the way. Conclusion. As we reach the end of this journey, a remarkable pattern emerges. From the depths of your mind to the vastness of the cosmos, reality is far richer and more mysterious than it first appears. We began by exploring how choices are shaped by forces both seen and unseen, then examined time not as a rigid ruler, but as a fluid, subjective experience. We saw that memory can deceive. The self is partly a story, and consciousness carries layers of awareness far beyond the ego. We explored the intelligence within the human body and the grandeur of the universe, and we glimpsed how technology and space exploration are expanding both human capability and ethical responsibility. Across all these domains, one theme becomes clear. Knowledge alone is not enough. Awareness transforms understanding into wisdom. Curiosity, when combined with presence, opens doors to awe, compassion, and meaning. Science and spirituality are not opposites. Together, they reveal that life is not merely something to analyze, but something to experience deeply, consciously, and reverently. The hidden patterns in your mind, the intelligence of your body, and the immensity of the universe are reflections of the same truth. You are part of something greater, yet intimately connected to it. Each decision, each moment of mindfulness, each act of kindness resonates outward, shaping not only your life but the fabric of reality around you. Ultimately, the greatest insight may be this: the world is not just something that happens to you. It is a living field in which your awareness, choice, and consciousness participate. You are both observer and creator, small yet infinite, fleeting yet eternal. Carry this perspective forward. Let wonder guide your curiosity. Let awareness guide your choices. And let the mystery of existence inspire both humility and courage. Life becomes not only a story to understand, but a journey to embrace. One moment, one decision, one breath at a time. The universe is vast. Your mind is deep, and the space in which they meet, the present moment, is where awakening begins.